Okay, Peter Burchfield here, and I'm just so grateful to invest in leaders. I believe that the leadership landscape is going to get really tough, but also very rewarding for those that stick it out. And I won't get into that because, man, my heart just throbs when I start talking to leaders and start talking about pioneering leadership, because we really need pioneers to be the leaders at these many organizational levels. And so I won't get into that now, but I did have an awesome conversation with a friend who is a business owner. And he was talking about basically the tension on his team when it comes to delegation. He started it young and scrappy. Everyone was happy. They were just running, making things, work, and they were figuring out the business as they got started. He recruited friends. That's what you would normally do. I know a lot of family businesses and family style organizations, and this is very normal, right? You're young or you're a part of kind of an existing relational network, and so you just kind of all take off into it together. And basically, they are now hitting a very high pressure season, and they've got to get results. And so it's putting a lot of strain on the relationship, and the leader is trying to find their sea legs, and they're trying to motivate and delegate, and it's a very tough situation for them. And I can relate. I understand what it's like, and I've worked with many leaders in that exact same situation. I'm going to give you the two most obvious routes that leaders are told to take when it comes to delegation or growing their team. The first one is what I'm going to just call bluntly headhunting. And then the second one is what I'm going to call a little more fondly as homegrown. And these are the two options that we hear all the time. And so headhunting is basically buy the best talent. And you get other people to find other people who can come into your organization and do this really big, fast transformation. And you're going to start to lead with speed, and you're releasing the keys of the castle to the experts that have come in, whether they're consultants or whether they're, A players. And you're basically spending big bucks to bring in big bucks, as in deer. And, you want them on your team. And when you have the best, and you can be the best, and you can do the best, and there's this whole kind of culture around that, this very talent focused culture. And that's great, and it works, and it's real. But in reality, it's not where everybody is, and it's not every leader's intrinsic motivation. And so I want to be respectful of kind of both sides of that conversation and say that it's an option, it's a route, but not everyone feels like they can take it. The other side of this is homegrown. And to kind of paint a silly picture, it's like the baby is born out as soon as they get there, and now you begin to, nurse them and love them and feed them and care for them and school them and raise them and work with them. And then finally, the baby becomes an adult who can now assume responsibility in the family business, and, now they're going to fly like an eagle. And that is a really inspirational story, but it takes a long time, and it's not guaranteed. And so I know a lot of leaders in that camp as well, and they want that story so badly that they're actually going to go the hard way for a really long time just to kind of tell that story. And maybe they're telling themselves that story, or I don't know, but the point is that that's the other route. And so some people like it, some people take it, but there are pros and cons to both of it. And what I would say is that you have to be a pioneering leader, and you have to be willing to chart a new course. You have to be willing to say, hey, if these are the two routes and they're not the best, then let me make a new path. Let me figure out another way to do this that focuses on both results and relationships. We shouldn't have to choose one over the other, and they shouldn't be combative against each other. They should be two sides of the same coin, right? If we have great relationships, there's high trust and high accountability, and we're motivating one another, we're encouraging and elevating our expectations together, it just is logical, at least to me, that people who play well together stay together, and they want to win together, and so then they go do great things together. And the same is true of the results. The results should not be a wet blanket on those work relationships. They should be like fire in our team. We should be so fired up for the mission, for the work, for the clients, the customers, the community. Like, we should be really fired up about doing great work together, and the results should feed us, right? Doing, I could quote someone who said, doing the will of God actually nourishes me, feeds me, like motivates me. Seeing the stuff happen, seeing the mission advance, seeing people helped, served, changed is motivational, right? So results and relationships are not in a vacuum. They should be going together. They should be working together. And so that's why I'm pretty confident to say that I believe there's a third option. If you want to raise up leaders so that way the current stuff is getting carried out and there is futurability in your organization, there's a third route. And the third route is what I'm going to call home base. So you got headhunters, you got, which is just a joke, but just bear with me. You got the headhunters, you got the homegrown, and now here in the middle, we've got home base. Home base is the idea that we're going to come and go. We're going to come and go. There's times where we come together. There's times where we go out. And I'm going to use two examples here. Hopefully you can track with me. Nehemiah, he's an amazing leader. We read about his life in the Bible, or at least his contribution, I could say it that way. And basically, he was heartbroken about what was going on in his homeland, and God set him up in a really significant way to go back and to be a part of a restoration movement. And he went and saw the brokenness around his city, and he surveyed it privately, and then he rallied people together. He rallied them with core messaging. He rallied them with a mission that mattered. And then he said, now, because we're all together, right? We're all together in this. Yes, yes, yes. You know, he's really revving up the troops. And he says, okay, now that we're all together, here's what we're going to do together. We're going to scatter. We're going to all go work on a different part of this very large project. And we're not going to see each other, but maybe we'll hear each other if we're loud enough. And we won't see each other, but we're going to trust that every person is staying focused on working, at their part of the wall. And I think that's part of the third option. It's the willingness to bring people together, to connect, to bring alignment, to bring mentorship, and then release people to go do good work, right? To have some ownership in their part of the wall. And I think this is a third option because it's not the ambitious lead with speed route, which is all about buying the talent who's just going to do it. And it's not the homegrown route, which is very slow, relational, organic. It takes a long time, not really guaranteed. But it's something in between. It takes some time, but not as much time as you would think. If you're willing to bring people together for the relational stuff, and then you send them out to go do the results, and you bring them back together, not for micro managing, but for macro mentoring. And you continue to bring greater and greater awareness to the people on the team, to the people in the circle, to those in your leadership community, and you begin to raise their awareness. And as you raise their awareness of, a variety of things, it actually grows their capacity. And they realize, oh, wow, there's more variables than I thought to making those kinds of decisions. Wow, there's more considerations that go into hiring people for this role. Wow, it's more complicated than I thought to do this, or it's actually more beneficial to take on this system than I thought. And you just keep expanding the culture and the competency and the capacity of the people you already have. And that's the key, right? You're not waiting on people you don't have. You don't have the A players yet. You don't have the long game yet. Who do you have? Who do you have with you right now? And are you willing to just step over any mistrust and say, well, I don't know if I could delegate. I don't know if it'll work out. I tried it. It didn't work. I got burned. And I get it. I totally feel that frustration with you. But it's a combination of relational and results. And so we're going to come together at home base. And home base is also where we send you out. We're going to send you out. And that kind of is a new definition of delegating. Delegating is not just telling people to do stuff you don't want to do yourself. Delegation is sending someone out as a delegate of your mission, of your brand. So you're going to send them out as a delegate into the marketing space. You're going to send them out as a delegate into the coaching space. You're going to send them as a delegate out into this new department or this new ministry. You're going to send out delegates into these new fields for a time. And then you're going to bring them back and say, let's debrief. Let's talk about it. How did it go? And so it's ongoing. It's not constantly hand-holding on the homegrown side. It's not total release. I'm just looking for the results. It's something in between. And if we're willing to invest 2 days at a time and, release people 2 months at a time or 2 years at a time into these key roles, we will be there to help them, and they will grow into the leaders that we need them to be for the future. And whether they're going to stay in our organizational context or not is not the game. What is the game is that we're raising up more leaders that are going to go into new fields that are going to make our industries and our institutions better in the future. And I just think if we're willing to invest in the ecosystems that we're a part of, everybody can win. And so I really just want to affirm you, there's something you can do today to take care of all of the responsibilities going on and simultaneously invest in the future of your organization. And it's by taking on a little bit more of a home base approach. And here's the distinction. They're not here to help me do my thing. I'm here to help them do a new thing in the organization and in the context of our mission. So think about that. Many times we think team building and delegation and bringing leaders on, okay, they're going to help me do my thing. They're going to help us with the vision. That's great. But honestly, we're shifting from management to empowerment. And then right after empowerment, we got to kick into sustainment. How are we going to support frontline leaders well? How are we going to serve and uplift and continue with those partnerships when they're in the field? And so it's just a mindset, that Luke 10:2 framework. How are we thinking about the laborers, the leaders that are out in the field? We want to release more and more into the fields, but we also want to, stay connected as best we can. Okay, so that's that for now, and I want to give you a personal invitation. I'm hosting a 5-day challenge. It's for leaders in business and ministry, and we're going into quarter 2, and I want us to stay inspired about making uncharted progress in every direction of our life. And maybe you're a leader and you value life coaching, but you can't go through the long, 6-month plan or 12-month plan. This is going to be perfect for you because it's 5 days. Literally, we're coming together for about an hour a day during your lunchtime, and you're going to remember how exciting your future is, and you're going to have the inspiration and the strategies to get back to work. And it's possible that we, let our guard down, let our sights down, that we kind of get dull just in the wear and tear of our weekly routines. And I want to help you stay sharp so that way you stay committed to the year-long journey that you opted into in January. So check it out. Spaces are limited and this thing will fill up. So I encourage you, please join me and let's choose the uncharted way together. Remember, the future has so many fields waiting on you, so prepare to go there.